Hello, everyone. This is Ruli01 coming back to you with part 3 of What If Light Never Killed Anyone Innocent. I'd like to thank everyone who's liked and comment my videos. Without your support, I wouldn't be making this stuff. Or I probably would, but just like at less frequency. So, as last time I was debating Light was debating whether or not to give Misa back her memories of the Death Note. He's been talking to Rem, and she agrees that it'd be better if she didn't have her memories, but at the same time, she doesn't know if that would be the best prospect for the whole situation. Because with Light only having his memories, he has to hide the fact that he's Kira to her. But with her having her memories, then she's able to be part of it without having it to be such a big ass secret. So I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. I'm just gonna say that they go on, like goes on killing criminals, same old, same old. Just trying to keep it secret from Misa until he feels like she needs to know, or maybe just plausible deniability. And we're gonna get to the part of Yotsuba. Well, not really Yotsuba, but you get what I mean. That arc where he would be under surveillance and all that other stuff. So it's been a while. Light's been doing his work. Him and Misa have been going on dates and acting like a regular couple. Elle and Light don't see eye to eye anymore, like they would. Well, and that's understandable after his girlfriend got tortured. But here's what's really interesting happens during this time. Since Light didn't lose both of the Death Notes, he still has both of them in his possession. Then Yotsuba doesn't get the Death Note and uses it for financial gain. So that's cool. No more innocent people or corrupt people from other CEOs and all that stuff that don't get killed because they want political gain or financial gain for their companies. But what does happen is there's a third Shinigami who makes his appearance. I believe his name was Saito. He's the one that Ryuk tricked the Shinigami King to get his Death Note, and he's like running out of time, and he has to get it back. So he comes back down to the human world because he needs to get it, and he found out that it was Ryuk who took it, so he's gonna go down there and try to confront him about it. Ryuk and him have a little bit of an argument about, oh, but I'm not the owner right now. The kid is the owner and all that other stuff. And oof, that's kind of a bad situation for everyone. Well, it doesn't really change any of the facts. It's just that he's now attached to Light because Light's part of you get me. He has the original notebook, and that's how it happens. So with this, Light has another dilemma whether or not to, you know, forfeit ownership of the Death Note so the Shinigami can return back to the realm. So he decides to talk to Ryuk about it. That will he lose his memories if he knows he won't lose his memories, but he might need the second Death Note just in case he wants Misa to have her memories back. So he asks Ryuk if he could drop his Death Note as well. And Ryuk surprisingly complies with this because he doesn't want to lose all the how do you say, he doesn't want to lose the entertainment or the fun that he's having with Light, so he agrees to drop his own Death Note. And he forfeits the one that he got from Ryuk originally to Saito, and he returns back to the Shinigami role. And Light asks, "You're able to trick the Shinigami King. How did you do that?" And, well, Ryuk just tries to say it's really hard to trick him and all that other stuff, but he never really explains how he did it. And then Light was like, "Is it for people who owned a Death Note to meet the Shinigami King?" And Light has an idea, but that all depends on what Ryuk could do. Ryuk is not certain because that's a realm of existence that only Shinigamis are able to go to. So he's not sure if they're able to bring a human who has the Death Note up there. Or, yeah, up there because it's technically up higher. They're always watching above. So Ryuk goes on to investigate while Rem stays with Light to do the whole Shinigami pairing thing that they're doing. Well, with the second Death Note, which he is gonna use, meanwhile, he has the one with Misa's memories hidden somewhere, just in case he needs to give her back her memories, because that wouldn't, well, it wouldn't work if it was the other Death Note, because she wouldn't get all her memories back. She only get the memories of the Death Note she did use, so that's why Light's keeping the one that Rem had as an extra. So, anyways, with the help of Rem, Light actually gets a little bit more, I would say, easier for his work, because Rem is actually willing to help. She just wants Misa to be happy, and like if she helps Light, then Misa's happy. She doesn't know it that he's Kira, but at the moment, everything seems fine. She's having fun. They're going on dates. She's watching her live her life like how she wanted her to live her life, which is funny that she got attached to her after so much little bit of time. I guess we could move on since the investigation will not change. L is frustrated to the point that he doesn't know what to do. All the information says that it can't be Light, but he's the only suspect that matches what he would think would be the cure. And that frustrates him to the point that he actually calls Nier and Mello, both of them, to come and help him with the investigation. Feeling that it might be time for the next generation to take over, and that he actually needs help. Which would come to the surprise to both Nier and Mello that he called both of them. And we already know how Mello's personality is. He's he wants to be the best and all that stuff. He doesn't play well with others, or he doesn't like to share stuff with Nier. So Nier works with L very closely, looking at all the evidence they compiled and what evidence was, disregarded because of what Light did to prove his innocence and Misa's innocence. And they try to look at it at a different angle. Try to see if it was true that Kira can control people, he might have controlled them, but they didn't die, so there might be another trick to how he uses his power. They try to do the surveillance again on Light and Misa, since they're now living together after the whole incident. Misa doesn't want to be alone, but they are not publicly together because she's still an idol. They tried to do the surveillance again, but since Light does his old tricks for his house, so he knows if he's being followed and stuff, especially that Rem is helping him more than what Ryuk did in canon, then he would actually know he's being followed, and there might be cameras and stuff. So, and since Misa doesn't know jack about being Kira, she won't accidentally blurt it out while they're together. So that was a good thing he didn't give her back her memories. So he's thinking, yeah, it's better to not give her back her memories until he can completely clear himself of suspicion, or they could blame this on someone else, or not blame it on someone else, or just blame it on God being vengeful and stuff. So going into the investigation, L also hires Webby and Ader, the con artist and the master thief, to help them with the investigation, because L's drawing at straws at this point. He doesn't know how to he convince everyone that Light is Kira, or that if he can convince himself that he isn't Kira. Because yes, Light has been good to the investigation. He's been helpful. He's been doing all his good. But the whole thing with Light being Kira, how he disproved it with the truth serum and the polygraph test, is really weighing on him, because he thinks he might be wrong, and he's never wrong when he was initially doing his inductions. And maybe it's the stress is killing him, because people are still, criminals are still dying, and he can't do nothing about it. He's at that phase in the second season when he's just depressed and he doesn't know what to do with the investigation. He called Nier and Mello because they're younger and they're eager to do this. Well, Mello less enthusiastic to work with everyone else, but because L told him to do it, and L is alive in this part of the series, then he's more willing to oblige and work with Mello to try to solve this case. So with the help of all three of them and Webby and Ader, they're trying to figure out if they could somehow convince Light to confess, or if they could just find another lead, which would leave the options very limited. And during all this time, Ryuk is in the Shinigami world talking to the Shinigami King, asking if it's possible to bring someone up there. And surprisingly, the king says that it is possible, but the person in question might not come back from that experience. And he explains in detail that the person who wants to go visit the Shinigami realm, that there's a chance they won't make it back. Not in the sense that they have to like they're once they go there they're gonna stay there. More like it's a rule and a timeline that they have to follow. So I'm making this up as I go because I have no idea how the Shinigami world works. Not many people do. People think that once you use a Death Note, if you die, you go there because it's neither heaven nor hell. And that actually would make sense. So anyways, so the way that a person with the Death Note, a human being, to go to Shinigami realm, they have to separate their soul from their body for a total of 24 hours. And if they don't make it back, let's just say they're not coming back. So Light would have to find this out once Ryuk comes back. But the problem is that time works differently in the Shinigami world. It could be like 1 year out here, might be a few minutes in there, and so on. Like I don't know how the time works between the two realms, because most of the Shinigamis they don't age, so you can't tell, oh, it's been 30-40 years for this person. And we'll keep it at that. So Ryuk comes back and he tells Light about this, but he tries not to, blurt it out and have Light, scream out, I'm Kira, I'm talking to myself. So he just tries to do it while they're in private, and he figures out that, yeah, he could probably do it, but maybe it's a little bit too risky right now to ask the Shinigami King for an audience. So he's thinking of postponing that plan until he clears himself. Meanwhile, right now he's on a date with Misa. And, it's a nice date out in the park. They're sitting on a bench while they're seeing children play in the playground. And Misa makes a small remark that I can't wait for us to have kids. And Light's a little taken aback about that. Because, he's thought about it, having kids, but a little too soon in the game for his thoughts. But maybe after things cool down, maybe he would want kids. Funny thing is, Ram and Ryuk are behind them or behind Light looking at this, and then they're thinking, humans are able to reproduce, but how are their Shinigami able to reproduce? That's going a thought behind their heads, because yes, they're Shinigami, but even they don't know exactly about their existence. How were they created, how were they born, and all that other stuff, because they don't really know either. They live long lives, longer than anything, but still the question of their existence always comes back. Okay, so going back to the whole thing with Nier, Mello, and L doing their investigation, they're able to only come up with a few small details that would link Light to Misa, but other than what happened in Aoyama and stuff, other than that, they can't really link anything else to Kira. The only evidence they had was the whole envelopes with Misa's stuff, and that's it. But other than the connection that she has with Light, they can't find a way that makes him Kira. So they're stumped as well. And here's when something very interesting happens. During this whole time, L has not mentioned anything, and I mean anything, to the other governments other than Japan, what's been happening. Well, I mean, in general, he hasn't told them nothing, but the updates of the whole investigation. Let's just say other countries have taken notice that L has stayed in Japan. He has not conducted any investigation in other countries, because that would be very suspicious that he's only asked for Japan's help in the investigation. So they're thinking that Kira must be in Japan, and that's why L is only staying there. So now comes the part where other government agencies want to find Kira, not just to stop him, but some with a bad agenda, let's just say at least, that they want to harness Kira's power for their own gain. So, like the US government, Russia, and I'm just going to stop naming countries because I don't want to be politically, involved in this. So, anyways, let's just say the other countries are sending their own teams of investigators to do their investigation in Japan, which starts conflicting with L's team. And L doesn't know whether or not to tell the rest of the investigation team that they're going to have problems with other agencies coming in on their jurisdiction. But in the end, it's still going to be a problem for Light because he's going to find out that there are other teams after him, and they're not going to play by the rules, or they're going to do whatever means necessary to do what they can to find Kira. And that might also prove out to be a little bit too much for him. So while that's going on, we're skipping a few months. The investigation teams from the USA, Russia, China, and all the Germany and so on, they're all doing their investigations in secret. L has been keeping tabs on them, and so their investigation team does know that they're in Japan and they're also investigating using fake IDs and all this other stuff, but they know that they're not legit. They can't really tell them to go away because of that, it will make an international incident with their investigation. So what does happen is we skip a few months. Light is like contemplating what to do because he could still kill people and he's not under direct surveillance anymore because he proved he was innocent. There's still a small amount of cameras and microphones in his house, but he already told L that if you can keep watching me, it's fine. But just to show that also that you should trust me a little more. You get me? Because he doesn't hate L. Well, he does hate the fact of what he did to Misa, but you get me. It's the investigation. He knew that was a possibility, what was going to happen to her. So anyways, forgive and forget and all that other stuff. They're still friends at the end of the day, which is weird because they're adversaries as well. Anyways, months pass, investigations keep going on, still nothing. And let's just say Misa and Light are in their homes and she's not feeling well. So they decide to go to the doctor. They go check her out and they find out a big surprise. Light goes back to his parents' home with his sister and his dad and his mom. And they drop the big surprise that Misa's pregnant. Wow, surprising. So Light decides he's gonna marry Misa and maybe he should tell her about the Death Note or give her back her memories temporarily so she can know the truth. Because right now, with her pregnant and the whole city about to become a war zone, well, not really a war zone, but if things go out of hand, violence might ensue because all these governments going after Kira for their own gain, there's no guarantee they won't keep it, like, you get me, above the books, or they might do some underhanded things. And then Kira, Light thinks the only way he could probably end this is if he talks to the Shinigami King. Might find a way out of it. So I'm going to leave this off here. I'll think of what he's going to do in the next part because this is probably gonna next episode is gonna be my last one. And if you guys could think of a name for the baby or what gender it should be, I'd like to see your ideas. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.